is Kiki here, and today we are on the food truck. I just want to come on here and yap to you guys because we have nothing really to do other than just prep. We don't really have any customers, and this event is kind of slow today. So I figured you guys could make some beef empanadas with me. We can talk about what I'm making, and maybe I'll get to some popular questions that I've had about owning a food truck. So let's start with the empanadas. So I am making beef empanadas. Now, beef empanadas are not typical Jamaican food at all, but my food truck is Jamaican fusion. So that means that we infuse other foods and cultures, and we give it a Jamaican Caribbean flair to it. So empanadas are typically more Hispanic, they're Puerto Rican, they could be Cuban. This is my Jamaican version. So we have beef, but the beef is seasoned like oxtail. So today's empanada special is going to be a oxtail inspired beef empanada. And then I also have jerk chicken that is shredded for a jerk chicken empanada, which has been a hit lately. Because I've done empanadas, probably my third time doing empanadas, and I kill it. Every time I make them, they sell out. So it might be something that I continuously do. And I'll switch up the flavors here and there. It's my first time doing the oxtail inspired one. But the beef one's sold out. Chicken one's definitely sold out. I did a Rasta pasta one. Kind of like, I didn't put the pasta in there, but I put the cheese sauce from the Rasta pasta with the jerk chicken. That was my personal favorite. So the empanadas are super easy to make. You buy these pre-made, they're called discos. This is the 6-inch. And then I bought like a pack of empanada or like hand pie crimpers from Amazon to help shape them. So you buy the discos in the frozen aisle, and there's different types of discos too, which is something that I've learned. So there's like discos for frying, some for baking, one that's baking or frying. So there's different types. So I believe, let me get the one that I bought. So this is the Goya brand dough discos, and this one is specific the frying kind, right? And like I said, it's a 6-inch and it's considered to be the large size. And yeah, I like it because they come pre-separated. So I actually reutilize these plastics to separate my empanadas. And then I store them in here, like this in the fridge, and then I cover it. And then if I need to, then I'll store some in the freezer if I have like a lot. But yeah, so I'm just making some empanadas. They're super easy to make. Like if you know how to make shredded chicken, ground beef, you just stuff that in an empanada. And it comes out really easy. So first you start by peeling off a disco sheet. I place it, sometimes the plastic is a little misaligned, so we'll fix that real quick. You place it on. Then I have a little egg wash here. This is just egg that's beaten. And I have a fork on here. I don't have any small spoons on the food truck. So I just take the egg wash and I run it along the edges of the dough disc, the disco. And then once the edges are covered with the egg wash, all you do is take a scoop. I have meat that I made earlier and cooled down. You take a scoop. I'm using like a 2-ounce scooper. And you plop it in the center. Sometimes it gets stuck in the scoop. And I like my empanadas with like a lot of meat. I hate when you get an empanada and it's flat and there's barely any filling. And price-wise, I sell my empanadas for $6. And I feel like that price is very justifiable considering that I fill them up. And they're pretty large. So once you put the meat in there, sorry, I forgot to show you. You want to line it up. You might have to sometimes pull out the plastic to kind of line up the edges. And then you want to go around and push down evenly along the edges of it to seal it up. And then once it's sealed up, you open it and it looks like that. And so I also like to peel off the plastic a little bit and re-stick it so that way when I go to fry it, it's not like stuck in there too hard. And that's it. Like, folding these empanadas is so easy. Some people do it with a fork, which you can do it that way too. Or you can crimp it by hand. But for me, this is just the quickest, simplest way to do it. And, this pack kind of is very misaligned. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm making empanadas. I have Malik making some of our cheesecake peach cobbler egg rolls. These are all just specials that we're running for the week. We have a short weekend because Super Bowl is tomorrow. But during the week we'll have some more events. So this is just extra prep since we have downtime today. And I've already posted the specials for today, so whoever comes by is able to order these. They're ready to sell now, so yep. So I'm lining it up, and then you're just gonna squeeze it down. Go along the edges, make sure each spot is sealed up. And you're gonna open it slowly, pull it out. And then I peel off the plastic. And then I put it back on. And then I store it away.
I'll go over here when you're done.
Okay. Alright. I'll be right back. Alright. So.
No, there's no point in me putting those flags up. Now I gotta put those flags up.
Yeah, I didn't realize the time. Whoopsies. So it is currently 1:24. Event ends at 2, and we're turning over to another event, but that's not till later in the evening. So, this event was very good. Only had one customer. Yeah. But you know what? We have an evening event, so hopefully that will be better. Which, usually they kill me at the bar with empanadas. We're doing Cigar International Lounge, which is located in Lutz, so it's about an hour from us. So we're just gonna pit stop, chill at home for a little bit. But I am gonna finish up these empanadas because I realized it is time to pack up. But, yeah. That's the reality of owning a food truck, especially in my area. So that's a question I will answer. People always wonder how profitable is a food truck, right? And the truth is, that is a very hard question to answer because there's so many factors that contribute to your profitability, right? So, before you start any business, you want to understand what your market is and what your demographic of your market is going to be. And, for a food truck, that's important to know because you want to know who's going to be enjoying your food, right? So, given that my market is not that diverse where I'm located, I'm in a small town called Spring Hill, and it's predominantly older folks, retirement people, predominantly white. We do have slightly larger Hispanic population here, but not really. We're not the majority out here. I'm not Hispanic, but people of color are not the majority out here. And I do feel like that does impact my business, actually. Just the median age of people out here, plus the lack of diversity. So for me, it has been a challenge, having consistent profitability, if I must say. So I do try to extend out of my areas when I can. And sometimes that's not always the best either because I've done events that have been far away and they don't profit either. So it can be difficult, especially because I don't have a set location either. And I've had some people recommend a set location, how it's better, but I live in an area where there is no foot traffic. So it's kind of, not to say pointless, but I've tried the parking up and staying in a spot, and a lot of times it's hit or miss. You're never going to have a consistent solid day, right? So that's something that I have to be mindful of whenever I'm planning events. I do try a lot of new spaces and events often because I'm trying to find what can be my groove. And the things that do well for me, I try to rebook, but sometimes there's other food trucks that are booking too. So it's kind of hard to get the good stuff over and over. There's quite a few, well, not a few, but there's a couple bars that I do really good at. But once again, it's, you're going against other food trucks in terms of scheduling. And so it's not always the easiest. But food trucks in general do have a lot of potential to be profitable, I will say. Because one, people eat day and night. It just depends on where you're located. Finding that good location is key to staying profitable. And also marketing yourself properly can be the difference in how much money you make. And a lot of times the events that you sign up for, you know, they have to have marketing as well. And if they don't market properly, then your overall event and turnout might not be good. So you have to be very mindful of a lot of stuff like that.
Your choice to be the Jack chicken or
give me a sec. I have an order coming in, guys.
And avocado crema on top.
Yay, I have an order coming in.
Avocado crema. It's like an avocado sour cream.
So happy. This will be my second customer of the day. And then my sister called the business line. And so she's my third customer of the day.
You said pork, right?
That's what they want to add an empanada.
Did you want an empanada? Yeah, we have beef and... Wait, do we have chicken or do we just...
With beef right now.
We got beef. Three? Okay.
What was that?
4? 5 empanadas?
5 empanadas. I'm about to do a happy dance.
Will that be all? Alright, so the cash card. Alright,
I just sold 5 empanadas. That just makes me happy.
That'll be cash. That'll be $40 even. $6 each. Tuesday. Buzzer. Who buzzed you when your food is ready?
You see that blue car? That's flavor.
The blue car?
Can they bring over there?
Yeah, it should be able to reach.
Thank you.
What happened? I'd say about 10 minutes.
What's the order?
1 nacho with pork, no crema, no pico, and 5 beef empanadas.
Okay. Dang, she don't want the crema and pico? That's the good stuff.
Yeah.
And you said which protein? Sorry?
Pork.
Pork? Okay. Put the little order. You sold 5 empanadas. Yay! Alright.
Hard cigar to 11.
Typically, I think midnight, but if it's kind of slow, then we don't have to stay up at the whole time. We have to drive back home. That's like so long.
Yeah.
Alright.
1, 2.
Ooh, he just turned off fryers too. 3. Keep an eye on my empanadas, okay?
Okay.
4. And 5. So 5 times 6, that's $30.
Yep.
And then they got a nacho, that's $10. That's a $40 sale that we just had. Cover these with the plastic wrap for your fridge, please. I will finish the rest of these later. Put this in the fridge also. What time is it? 1:30. Alright, let's get to cooking. Oh my god. Okay, here we go. Ah! Okay. Nacho. So I didn't even put on my cheese warmer today, so I'm gonna make my cheese sauce in the pot. So it gets a mix of my special cheese. Which, yes, my cheese is special. And then it gets a scoop of our nacho cheese. That is how we make our cheese sauce. Which one did you turn off first? That one, okay.
Oh, I didn't turn off that one.
Oh, it's still on? Okay. Okay, you might keep an eye on these and flip them. They're extra floaty today. Just turn this hood back on. You guys might not be able to hear me as well. Sorry. It's hot. Alright, so cheese is doing its thing. We're going to pack our order to go since we are at a community event. It's not really a place for them to chill and eat. So we will pack her order to go. She wanted no crema, no pico.
Yeah.
Put the crema on the side. Or did she specify those are allergies?
No.
No? Okay.
She wants no.
Huh?
She wants no.
It was a hard no.
It was a hard no, but, you know.
It's okay, we'll put it on the side. Oh, drop me a french fry for Candace. She wants a loaded fried shrimp, of course. That's my sister's order. That's all she wants on it. But I'm going to put her crema on the side. And I'll put pico on the side just in case. Because some people just like, they're just unsure about the mixture. So I at least offer to them on the side so they still have the option to either eat it or not. And then we'll just top it off with some extra cheese. Okay. Alright, and that's her nacho pico crema on the side. And yeah, empanadas are done. I'm gonna pack those up as well. And then I usually put some side sauces with the empanadas. I have a bumba sauce, which is our Jamaican version of mayo ketchup. a few more sauce cups, please. And a lid. And now there's people checking out the trucks. Oh, I have to show you guys. I'll show you guys the event we're at. It is at our neighboring community, and they are doing a Touch a Truck event. So they have like a fire truck here. They were supposed to have like a lifted pickup truck, like a monster truck kind of deal, but it didn't show. Yeah, it's pretty neat. And they get to interact with the vehicles. I'll show you guys. They're spraying the water. Alright guys, so to continue our conversation about profitability, so as mentioned before, there's a lot of factors that impact that. Like I said, I feel like my biggest factor is my location. It's hard for me at times to find good events, especially repetitively. And, you know, we do have competition in terms of other food trucks being in our market. And then also my area, I feel like my area doesn't do a lot of huge community events like that either. Right? Like there's a few in terms of like, they might have the Blueberry Festival, the Watermelon Festival, stuff like that. But then, those style festivals, they book so many food trucks and food vendors and tent vendors that they charge so much just to be a part of it. It's usually $200 plus. And I'm speaking from experience. I paid for these events, I participated in them, and I did not make my vendor fee back. Not even in the slightest. So, my area does host large events, but the organizers and how they have to charge things, it's just not worth it in the end, right? So, it's better to find slightly smaller events, but they're not always around, and people don't always show up in a tent, like the big events, right? So, that is a hurdle that, you know, we have one experience, and, you know, a lot of this knowledge that I have has simply come from me actually doing and learning, because when I first booked my first large event, it was so funny. My first event was this event in Wesley Chapel, and it was at the Outlet Mall, which gets busy. It gets packed out there. But I only had like one customer that day. It was my very first event with the food truck. And I paid $150 to be a vendor. It was like an international food fest is what it was. And there had to have been there was probably at least 20 food trucks. And there was nobody walked through our section of the parking lot. Like, I don't know if there was an advertisement. Maybe the company that organized it didn't market it properly. It's hard to gauge. You know? You never know what's gonna be a hit. You never know what's gonna be bad. But that's when I learned, I'm like, oh shoot, there's a checklist of questions that you need to ask a coordinator before you confirm that you would like to sign up for the event. And that is something that I've learned along the way and I've developed on the way for myself with booking, because it takes a lot of work to set up the trailer, to prep, to hire, or to pay my staff and stuff like that. And, you know, having days like that could really set us back, especially when I was starting. It was really rough. And I mean, luckily I started with my family and they were just tagging along because they were excited. But over time, you know, time is money. And so, yeah, there's just a checklist of things that you need to ask these coordinators before you confirm booking, right? And a lot of times these coordinators, they're not really truthful. They could tell you estimations and projections, but 9 times out of 10 is probably not even accurate either. But it's good to be aware of how many food vendors they're booking for the event, how it's being advertised. Are you responsible for your own advertisement? What is their expected crowd size? There's a formula I have to find you guys, but it's a way to calculate what your estimation of customers will be given a projected crowd size, right? Stuff like that. I kind of close this full station. This is my sister's food, by the way. She just wants our loaded fry with just cheese and shrimp, because she's pescatarian. And she's weird, and she just wants black beans on it. So, that's her order. She's obsessed with it. It's very simple. But yeah.
Alright, so then.
Go ahead and close this up so it's just but yeah, so profitability. What else can be said about that? So I feel like if you are interested in starting a food truck, one, you need to know your market, know who your tentative customers would be, what's your demographic, your location, if you're going to lock into one location or move around like I do, right? Yeah, it was just my first step. Like I said, it was looking back, it's funny because I did not know what I was in for. Like, I thought as soon as my wheels hit the ground that I would be making money because my food is so great and da-da-da-da. And that's not the case. It's just simply people do not attend these local events. And then when they have the big events, the organizers, they overbook. They overbook the food trucks. They have way too many for what their crowd is actually going to be. And that is not the first event that I've done that was like that. I've done quite a few events, especially in my first year, where that has happened, unfortunately. And it's all a learning curve. I mean, I've even done some recently that was like that, and I was shocked because, once again, I'm always down to try new locations and spots. There's a lot of, like, people that coordinate farmers markets, and they coordinate large events, and I found that for me, in my area, the people that coordinate the farmers markets, and they move around and do like a traveling market, I tend to do better at events like that versus your large scale festivals. And that's not, it's large scale, but not large scale like the Strawberry Festival. I do want to possibly look into a vendor space, not in the festival itself, because that's like easily, I think it's like 1,000 to 3,000 a day. Or it's like 1,000 to 2,000 a day, and then it varies depending on how many menu items you have. And so I don't want to be inside of the Strawberry Festival area because it's way too much money. But the people who live around the area and the neighborhood of the Strawberry Festival, they sometimes rent out their driveways, their lots. And when you're going there, there's a bunch of other street vendors. So that's something that I could potentially look into, but also the commute. So what is it? Plant City is also like an hour and a half from us. So is it worth doing? I don't know. I've heard mixed reviews about it. I've heard of people who go there every year and they say, like, I should try it. I've heard people that say they tried it and it's not that great because there's so many other vendors. But yeah, I think that's been like my strategies, that everything is worth a try. Because you never know. Like, I've had so many times where I thought the day was going to be slow and it actually turned around and it was really good. And sometimes you can go back to the same place and it'll be bad. So it's just really hard to gauge things. Once again, I don't have a set location, so I do move around. Let's put this stuff up in the fridge. Like, leave it out. Hold on, guys. Let me relock in. I gotta pack up so I could go. Guys, sorry about that. So I'm just strapping down my equipment right now. Everything is packed away in the fridge. We do have an evening event, like I mentioned earlier. But just to talk more about profitability and what I was saying about the events. I will say, for example, today's event. Because sometimes you have to also change your mindset. Not every bad day or bad event didn't have a purpose or a reason. And by that, I mean that this is a new community that I'm in, and it's actually a lagoon resort style community. The lagoon is not built yet, but I got acquainted with the people who are organizing the events, acquainted with the people who are in the office for this community, and stuff like that. I have to also look at as an opportunity, the opportunity that it is to network and to work with these companies, because in the future they can contact me to be a food truck when the lagoon is open. So this spot does have potential. It's just a developing community still. There's only about 20 residents currently. But like I said, it's supposed to be this resort style lagoon. Matter of fact, I have a paper that shows you the plan for the community. This is literally the resort that they're building, and it's going to have a lazy river as well, water slides, you name it. And it's going to be open to the public. So in the future, the spot will have potential. And the guy actually just came and told me, like, thank you for coming. He's like, I'm sorry it was slow, stuff like that. And, you know, sometimes things being slow, just, it is what it is. Like, it just has to be okay. But I try to find the purpose in it. And in this case, he's like, oh yeah, whenever we do plan more events and bigger events, you're going to be one of the first food trucks that I contact. So, you know, that's something to look forward to in the future. And I'll keep his information too, so that way when I do see the community is growing, then I can reach out to him again and just be like, hey, you know, can we be your food truck for XYZ, or if you guys want to host a community food truck night, stuff like that. So there is opportunity, even when there is failure in this case, I guess. But yeah, so things like that, you know, you kind of have to flip it on its head and look at it in a different way. Because yes, it sucks because, you know, I'm trying to make money now. Strapping the fridge. Trying to make money now. I need money, but it was also a networking opportunity. And realistically, being a moving food truck, not every event is going to be a hit. Not every event is going to be a 10 out of 10. And quite frankly, I sometimes do get blessed with opportunities to have $1,000 days and, you know, just overall good evenings. And one good day could make up for 3 to 4 slow days, bad days. So, you know, it's all about positioning and just, I would try to strategize my schedule. I do try to take my food truck out at least 4 times a week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. And also, I've been trying to work on my other streams of income where I can make money passively, because this takes a lot of physical work and a lot of time. So if I have another stream of income to cushion, you know, that wouldn't hurt. Earlier this week, I did have a meal prep client, and they are going to be, you know, doing meals with me for, right now it's projected to be a long-term arrangement. So that is something good that I now have, that's going to be recurrent in terms of profit. And as a food truck, you know, that might be something that you would also have to do, or when you're starting out, you might have to find alternate means of making money. And with profitability also comes seasonality. Now, I've realized over the span of I'm going to be 3 years in the food truck in August. Over the span of me doing the food truck, I've realized that summer is our slow season. And it's not just me, it is all food trucks, in my area at least. In my area to Tampa, like in Florida. And you would think that's not the case, because summer is when people are vacationing, you think people have more leisure time, they're going to events. But the reality is, when it gets hot, people don't go outside. Like, they don't frequent the places that you think they will go. And so that also makes it a challenge. So my strategy for the summer is to advertise my catering more, so that way I don't have to be on the food truck as often, and we could land more catering gigs than food truck events, because a lot of times the conditions in Florida summer is extremely hot. Then we have fryers and we have a stove, and it gets super hot in here. Like, I've been so hot to the point where I felt like vomiting. I've been sick just from the heat, and I've never experienced heat exhaustion like that in my life until being on the food truck and learning firsthand. So that's something to keep in mind, is seasonality. where you're located, what season is you're going to be your hot season, what season is a slow season. So paying attention to things like that will help you determine, okay, is this going to be profitable, or you might just have to learn and see what it is for your area. All right, guys, change of location for the moment. I am doing a little pit stop at home because we're in between events. So I have about probably about another 40 minutes. I have the trailer hooked up so that way the fridges stay on and stuff like that. But yeah, to continue our conversation of profitability, I mentioned catering and how I will pursue that more during the summer. And reason being is that it is more certainty in catering, and considering the conditions to operate in summer is a lot harder on me physically, mentally, all of that, and just time. Catering definitely in a way saves food trucks in this sense, because it gives us a guarantee of what we're making. You know, we could sell stuff for a higher ticket. Not sure if I ever mentioned this before, but I do cater all cuisines, not just Jamaican fusion. So I cater weddings, birthday parties, baby showers, you name it, I can cater it. I have different tiers of catering. So we have like our base catering, which would just be like scoop and serve by the pan, and we can get fancy and do some higher end stuff as well. So those are the things that I try to push more come the summertime, because that just kind of helps us to keep profits coming in and stuff like that. And like I said, this is all stuff that I've just learned along the way. I've had to pivot and I've had to just adjust my strategy constantly. You know, the market is forever changing. Like I mentioned earlier, there's things that I've done before, locations I've done that were good in the past, and they've kind of dwindled out now. So, you know, it's just a lot of re-strategizing, staying optimistic, trying things out, and just finding your spot. Some other things that impact your profitability is simply food cost. In the summer of last year, 2025, a case of chicken thigh, boneless chicken thigh, got up to $113 was the highest I've seen a 40-pound case. And due to that, I had to make some menu changes because of that pricing. I used to have boneless chicken in one of my rice bowls, and I had to eliminate that item I had to change the chicken on that item because the cost of it was just ridiculous. Now the price of the chicken is about $60, about $60 for a 40-pound case of boneless thigh, which is way better. That's what I was paying when I first started my food business. And for the price to get up to $113 per case, I was like, this is absolutely insane. It became a lot harder for me to afford my restock, essentially, especially if I'm having a slow season already on top of having these rising food costs. You know, that was something that I had to change my menu to accommodate. And, you know, I actually end up liking the menu change, and it's something I am opting to keep full time. My substitution for the meat on that rice bowl is that I now just do a leg quarter, and you get more meat and it's less on me in terms of cost. So stuff like that you have to keep in mind, as food costs are forever changing. Prices go up, prices go down. I already mentioned seasonality. Just, you know, for me, summer is not it. Some other seasons that is sometimes hard, I would say, is probably like around Christmas, like the week of Christmas into the new year. People done spent up all their money Christmas shopping and, you know, going out for the new year. There's a little dip in sales there, is what I've noticed, but people do attend events in the holiday time. So for me, my peak is fall. Absolutely love fall. There's great events that people actually show up to. There's pumpkin patches and there's fall festivals, and people go, I feel like people go to the bars more too. Like I enjoy doing like bar locations, breweries, stuff like that. I like the nightlife. And my area, like I mentioned, it's not diverse. We don't have a lot going on here, but we don't really have much nightlife here. But the few places that have something going on, people do tend to pack out those bars and stuff. So it's just hard to get on the schedule because there's other food trucks that, you know, do it too. But yeah, so I definitely feel like fall is my peak. It is my favorite season. Spring isn't too bad either, but then we're getting ready to head into summer after spring. So that's where you could see some fluctuations there. But yeah, just being aware of these seasonality things. Like, this is all stuff I wish I knew before starting a food truck. Like I said, my first event, I'm laughing at myself now because I truly thought that I was gonna make a killing day one. I booked a great event. I was super stoked. And I mean, I'm still excited when I book events. It's just now I understand how it works more so. Like, you could pay vendor fees. I paid vendor fees up to $300 and I did not profit. I didn't make my money back. I lost money. And the things that I do now, different in my schedule, I still pay vendor fees, but I don't pay as high of vendor fees because I shy away from those high vendor fees, especially when it's events that I'm not familiar with. I've also taken time to go to different events to experience them for myself just as a patron. So that way I could say, is this something Crafted by Kiki can do, right? Is this something that we should participate in with the food truck? So I always suggest scoping out things on the ground yourself. Go to these weekend markets, go to these bars and breweries and see what's buzzing and what's not. See what spots could be potential spots for you and stuff like that. And that you could do this before you get your food truck and you could do this after you get your food truck. This is stuff that could be applied now, okay? So you can start building a running list. That's what I do. I have a note in my app, in my notes app, of potential spots, things I need to check out, say on my day off, or even if it's on a weekend, I'm like, I should run up to this market, see what it's like, see if it's something that I could potentially sign up for later on. And just really just strategize that way. Like, I feel like that's the biggest difference in being profitable is just if you try and plan and strategize. Like, I can't stress that enough, because when you think the money is going to be easy and quick, it's not going to be like that, especially at the start. Like I said, I'm almost 3 years in and I'm still trying to find my groove. I do have places that I frequent. I do have things that come up annually that I know to look out for, to sign up for, and things like that. So I might have a bad week, but I won't have a bad month. And sometimes I can have a bad month and I can have 2 good straight weeks and I'll be solid. So it really does fluctuate, especially having no set location. And I tried set locations maybe like a week or 2 at a time. And for me, it's not really worth it. Not for this area that I'm in. Now, I have looked into different markets. I've looked into going to Orlando with my business. I've tried doing Tampa, St. Pete, but the things I've noticed that don't profit well is like doing like apartment communities, which like there's also a difference there. You have your luxury apartments and then you also have your like regular communities and apartments. And I found that doing those regular events don't profit well for me. I have a better chance at profiting when I go the luxury apartment route, but even then, that's not always a guarantee that I will have a lot of sales, especially because I have to commute out of my area to get to areas like that. For me, we don't really have many. I think we have one new luxury apartment here in Spring Hill that recently opened up, and they don't have a lot of residents yet. But for that style of apartments, I have to go out to Claremont. I have to go out to Tampa. I have to go out to St. Pete. And I've done that before, and it's a hit or miss, but there's higher chances with stuff like that. Some other locations that I do that do decently, what I would say is like the car dealerships, but that's mostly the workers that come and eat. I feel like I get way more workers than I ever do like customers of theirs coming to get food. But those stuff like that is good to frequent here and there, because you don't want to overdo it week after week and then the people are not going to buy week after week. Some people don't eat out all the time like that. My local farmers markets is another seasonal thing for me. I feel like my best season for farmers markets, like I said, is fall. There's fall festivals, fall markets, stuff like that going on. And then the summer months, it just gets really hot and miserable for everybody. So doing the farmers markets, you get a mix of customers, but also you get a mix of vendors as well. So you also have some potential there sometimes because the vendors want to eat too. What else? There's just so many different things and ways you can go about strategizing your spots and locations. But all of it is a learning curve. Like, especially things are going to be different area to area. This is just what I've experienced in my area. But yeah, that is really, is there anything else I could talk about? I have like a list. I'm trying to stay organized somewhat. So we can kind of touch on what else eats profit, you know, having to plan for repairs, permits, event fees I mentioned. So permits, for example, some counties, if you go to a different counties, you might have to pay to have a fire inspection done over again, or you have to commute all the way over there just to have them do the inspection, just to go back there come the day of your event. Repairs, that's just, you know, normal wear and tear stuff. You might need new tires, you might need new brakes. It could really be anything, but that's also things that kind of dig into your profit sometimes. What else? I'm just like rattling my keys. Whoopsies. But yeah, you know, that's pretty much how I've been, you know, navigating my business, is just by re-strategizing and trying to plan and trying to do my own on the ground work in terms of visiting different places to see, okay, is this a spot that I should try? Stuff like that, just checking out local events and just really talking to other vendors too. That's also another thing that's helped me, is connecting with other food trucks, because a lot of times these people have either been in the business as long as me and they just made other connections, or they've been in the business longer than me and they may have some suggestions for you. So that's one thing I will say as a food truck vendor. I feel like the community here, we share a lot of information with each other. We send people each other's way. And that's something that I do for other food truck people that I meet too. And if they are having a harder time than me, then I definitely try to give them some ideas or some people to contact, because the money is there. It's just, it fluctuates. And just finding your groove is, you know, the difficult part. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about profitability, to be honest. My food is beeping in the microwave. I'm starving. But I think I'm going to end the video here. That is about all I have to say. Thank you guys for coming along with me on my failed food truck event, but it's okay because we have an evening event we're going to, and we got some delicious empanadas to serve up along with our rest of our Jamaican fusion menu. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please message me or comment if you guys have any questions, I don't know, just talk to me. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know if anyone else is in a similar predicament as me, if you are a food truck or even just food business owner in general, restaurant owner. But yeah, comment down below if you guys have any video ideas, any tips for me, any suggestions. I am always open to everything. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Bye.